What if the strongest person in the room is the one who doesn't need to speak? What if true confidence isn't loud, but silent, hidden deep within, untouchable by praise, unaffected by insult? What if the man who walks calmly through chaos, with no need for approval, is the most powerful of all? You see it every day. Some people seem to carry a quiet force, no arrogance, no need for attention, just pure, steady strength. They don't chase the spotlight. The spotlight follows them. Why? Because their confidence doesn't come from the outside. It is forged within. Think about this. You're standing in a room full of noise. Opinions flying. Judgments everywhere. Eyes watching. And yet, there's a stillness inside you. A voice that says, I know who I am. That's what we're here to build. Not fake boldness. Not empty pride. But real, grounded, unshakable confidence. The kind Stoic philosophers built in silence, through storms of doubt and pain. Welcome to Book Boost. If you believe that life is not about impressing others but mastering yourself, then you are in the right place. If you're ready to build confidence from within, without shortcuts, without needing validation, then stay with us. Like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. This channel is your space to grow. Please drop down your one thought on believe in yourself in the comments. Your words might be the light someone else needs today. Now let's begin with what truly matters. The Stoics taught that confidence is not found. It is earned. Earned through discipline, not desire. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's our foundation. Real confidence isn't about what others think of us. It's about what we think of ourselves when no one's watching. Stoicism teaches us to train our minds, not to fear failure, not to beg for attention, but to walk our path with clarity and quiet strength. When we focus on our actions, not the results, we become unshaken by outcomes. When we stop needing applause, we start walking with purpose. Let this be your first step, not towards the world, but towards yourself. The fire you're looking for is not out there. It's already inside you. Armor of the mind, fortifying confidence by mastering thought and emotion. There is a war inside us that no one else sees. A silent battle between strength and weakness, between belief and doubt, between what we feel and what we know to be right. And this war is not fought with weapons, it is fought with thoughts. Confidence, true confidence, does not grow in ease. It grows when the mind is trained like a soldier, not just to fight outside forces, but to stand against the chaos within. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that emotions, if left unchecked, would control us. And a person controlled by emotions cannot ever be truly confident. Think of it like this. If every little thing people say or do can shake you, how can you ever feel steady? If someone's praise makes you feel worthy and their silence makes you feel invisible, then your confidence doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. And that is not confidence. That is slavery. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire and still faced his own inner fears, said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. He wasn't just speaking of peace, he was talking about power. When your thoughts become your ally, you become your own protector, your own armor, your own source of courage. So how do we train the mind? Not by running from emotion, but by standing still in it, by watching it, questioning it, and understanding it. Let's say you feel fear before speaking up. Don't try to silence it by pretending. Ask it, what am I afraid of? Embarrassment? Rejection? Failure? Then ask, so what? What real harm can those things do to me? If my value depends on the outcome, then I have already lost control. Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of what scares us never happens. Most of what makes us anxious is just a story we're telling ourselves. But that story can be rewritten, not with force, but with clarity, with awareness, with the ability to sit with discomfort and say, I see you, but you do not rule me. The Stoics were not emotionless. They felt everything, but they did not obey those feelings. They treated them like visitors. You can knock on the door, but I don't have to let you in. And if I let you in, you do not get to control the house. That's what Stoic confidence is. It is not the absence of fear, it is mastery over it. You may feel anger when someone disrespects you. That's human. But if your sense of worth depends on being respected, then you will live like a leaf in the wind, blown here and there by opinions. But if you know who you are, truly know it, then even disrespect becomes powerless. You will learn to respond, not react. That's why confidence doesn't grow through more success or more attention. It grows through more self-control. The more you control your responses, the more you begin to see clearly. You stop asking, What do they think of me? And start asking, what do I think of myself in this moment, right now? A person who can control their own mind is the strongest person alive, because no insult, no failure, no rejection can shake them. They may feel pain, but they do not break. And over time, that kind of steadiness becomes a quiet power. Not loud, not showy, but undeniable. Let's look at a common moment. You make a mistake at work. Someone criticizes you harshly. Your heart races. Your mind wants to defend. You feel the heat in your chest. But then you pause. You take a breath. You observe the emotion like a Stoic would. Is this anger useful? Will it improve anything? Am I reacting to protect my ego or to grow from truth? That pause, that one breath, can change your entire day. That's the pause that Marcus Aurelius took when he wrote to himself. That's the pause Epictetus trained his students to take before letting their emotions drive them. That pause is the beginning of confidence. Because in that pause, you are in control, not your emotion, not your doubt, not the world around you. And here's the truth. The more you practice this inner control, the stronger it becomes. Like training a muscle. You don't need a gym. You don't need approval. You just need the will to stop, to see, and to choose. Every time you do that, you become a little more solid, a little more grounded, a little more free. The outside world is never stable. People will love you one day and forget you the next. Achievements will come and go. Beauty will fade. Strength may weaken, but your ability to govern your thoughts, that can remain. That is the real armor. That is what protects your confidence when everything else fails. The Stoics didn't live in perfect times. They were surrounded by war, betrayal, sickness, and loss. But through it all, they built something unbreakable, a mind that could not be shaken. That is our goal. Not to escape emotions, but to stand above them. Not to feel nothing, but to feel deeply without being controlled. Because once you master your mind, you are no longer a servant to fear. You no longer seek permission to be strong. You simply are. And that is the kind of confidence that nothing, no words, no judgment, no failure can ever take away. In the end, confidence is not a gift. It is a discipline. It is earned in moments of doubt and silence when no one is watching. When you choose to rise above the noise within, that's when you begin to walk like the Stoics did, not needing the world to approve, because you already know your worth. And when you know your worth, you do not have to prove it. You simply live it. That is the armor of the mind. That is the heart of Stoic confidence. Standing alone, standing strong. How to be confident without external validation. You will never be truly confident if your worth depends on the words and opinions of others. You may wear the best clothes, speak well, walk tall, but if deep down, your peace relies on how the world reacts to you, then your confidence is a house built on sand. And the Stoics knew this long before the modern world ever made us crave likes, praise, and recognition. To walk through life with steady confidence, you must first stop giving your peace away to people who did nothing to earn it. When someone praises you, ask yourself, does that change who I am? When someone criticizes you, ask again, do I become less because they cannot see my value? Confidence begins the moment you no longer need someone to tell you what you are worth. Epictetus, a slave who rose to become one of the most respected Stoic teachers, once said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why would he say that? Because when you live to impress, you chain yourself to the minds of others. And a mind that is chained cannot stand tall. It is bent. It is broken. It is always looking outside, never within. Confidence without external validation is not arrogance. It is freedom. It's the freedom to make a mistake and still hold your head up. It's the freedom to walk away from the crowd and not feel lost. It's the freedom to be misunderstood and still move forward without flinching. That kind of strength is built, not bought. It's forged in silence, in patience, and in solitude. Look around. Every day, people chase validation. They change their words to be accepted. They hide their flaws to be liked. They sacrifice their truth to be seen. But what happens when the applause stops? What happens when no one notices? They crumble, because they never learned how to stand without support. Now look at the Stoic. He speaks less and observes more. He is not cold. He is not arrogant. He simply knows that his worth cannot be measured by applause or ignored by insult. He lives by principles, not popularity. And that is what makes him steady. While others rise and fall with opinions, he remains grounded. Confidence grows when you understand that you are not in this world to perform. You are here to live with purpose. You are not a product for others to approve. You are not a puppet moved by praise. You are a soul with reason, with values, with strength. And the deeper you connect with that truth, the less you will seek the nods of others. Seneca wrote, We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Often, the fear of being judged holds us back more than the judgment itself. We imagine the whispers. We imagine the disapproval. And so, we shrink. But if we stay with that fear, if we sit quietly with it, we'll realize something powerful. It passes. And what's left is clarity. A kind of freedom that doesn't need validation to breathe. Ask yourself, have you ever held back from speaking your truth because you feared what others might think? Have you ever dressed, acted, or spoken differently just to fit in? And when you did all that, did it bring peace? Or did it make you feel like a stranger to yourself? Now imagine the opposite. Imagine walking into a room, knowing who you are, and not needing to be anyone else. Imagine doing the right thing, even when no one claps. Imagine failing in public and still being proud because you stayed true to yourself. That is Stoic confidence. That is strength built on rock. We must remember this. Validation from others is like a sweet drink. It feels good for a moment but fades quickly. It leaves you thirsty again. But when confidence is built from your values, your discipline, and your actions, it becomes like water from a deep well. It lasts. It nourishes. And it doesn't run dry when others walk away. It takes practice. It takes honesty. Start small. Speak the truth, even when it's hard. Stay silent, even when others expect a reaction. Do what is right, not what is easy. And every time you do, you grow roots. Deeper, stronger. You begin to realize that you can trust yourself. That even if the world turns its back, you can still face forward. Confidence without external validation is not about becoming numb or uncaring. It's about becoming whole. It's about realizing that your value was never meant to be handed out by strangers. It was meant to be known by you. Once you taste that kind of self-trust, you'll never again be desperate for the crowd's approval. You'll stop begging the world to accept you. You'll stop shaping yourself to fit into small spaces. You'll start walking with quiet power. Not to prove anything, not to gain attention, but because it is who you are. And that kind of confidence? It doesn't need to be shouted. It is felt. In how you walk. In how you act. In how you live. So, stand alone, but not in fear. Stand alone because you've learned to trust yourself. Stand alone because you've built a foundation that no comment, no opinion, no silence can shake. This is what the Stoics knew, that the highest power is self-mastery. And the deepest confidence is born when we stop performing and start living with purpose. Stand tall. Stand still. And let the world wonder how you remain so steady while it shakes around you. The will to endure, building unbreakable inner strength in a chaotic world. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel ready. There will be days when the weight of life sits on your chest like a stone. There will be moments when your thoughts turn against you, when doubts speak louder than reason, and when your body feels too tired to rise. But strength, the kind that lasts, is not built in comfort. It is forged in struggle. That's what the Stoics knew. That's what they lived by. And that's what we must remember. In a world full of distractions, where weakness is hidden behind quick pleasures and temporary escapes, true strength is choosing the harder path. It's choosing to show up when it's easier to stay silent. It's choosing discipline when laziness whispers in your ear. It's choosing your values when the world tempts you to trade them for approval. Confidence begins with endurance. And endurance begins with will. Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." That isn't just a clever phrase. It's a way of life. When things go wrong, the Stoic doesn't ask, "Why me?" He says, "What must I do now?" Because we don't control the storm. We only control how we stand in it. And that is where true confidence comes from, not the absence of struggle, but the mastery of response. Ask yourself this. When things fall apart, who are you? Not when you're winning, not when people are clapping, but when you're alone with your failure, your fear, your weakness. Who are you then? That is the version of you that determines everything. The world sees what you show it, but your spirit knows what you carry in silence. That is where confidence either dies or is born. We live in noisy times. There's pressure to be visible, to always perform, to always have answers. But the Stoic path says, hold still. Don't rush to prove. Don't bend to noise. Confidence doesn't come from shouting louder. It comes from standing quieter. To endure is not to give up joy, but to understand that joy means more when it is earned, not borrowed. Every day, life will test you. Someone will misunderstand you. Someone will disrespect you. Life will disappoint you. But those are not signs to fold. They are signals to grow. If a tree never faced wind, its roots would stay weak. If your life never challenged you, your spirit would remain soft. We need resistance. We need pressure. Because without them, we never discover who we really are. Confidence is not about never falling apart. It's about rebuilding yourself again and again, each time stronger, wiser, more grounded. The Stoics knew that the real battle is not with the world. It is within. Epictetus, born a slave and crippled by a master, still said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He didn't blame his chains. He trained his mind. That's the difference. When life feels too heavy, remember this: the weight is not there to crush you. It is there to train you. Like a muscle, strength grows when it's tested. When you feel pain, you're not broken. You're being shaped. And when you endure through it, without complaining, without pretending, you gain a kind of power no one can take away from you. Do not fear hard times. Fear what happens when you avoid them. Because ease makes the body soft, but struggle sharpens the soul. The Stoics did not run from suffering. They walked through it with open eyes and steady hearts. Not because they enjoyed pain, but because they knew what came on the other side of it: control, wisdom, and peace. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to know everything to move forward. You just need to commit. To choose discipline when you want ease. To stay focused when your mind wanders. To show up again and again, even when no one notices. That's what endurance looks like. That's where unshakable confidence begins. We often wait for motivation, but the Stoic doesn't wait. The Stoic acts. The Stoic does what must be done, even when the feeling is not there. Marcus Aurelius said, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work,' as a human being." He didn't say wait for excitement. He said move, because movement creates strength, and strength creates belief. You don't need to yell to prove your worth. You don't need to win every argument to feel powerful. Real strength is calm. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't rush. It doesn't beg. It doesn't break easily. It stands. And if it falls, it stands again. That's what we're after. Not temporary bravery, but lasting courage. In the end, this is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you truly are. Before the fear. Before the doubt. Before the world told you that you weren't enough. The Stoic path is not about adding things to your life. It's about removing the lies, the noise, the weakness, until only the truth remains. You. Strong. Still. Steady. The world will keep changing. People will keep doubting. Life will keep throwing storms your way. But if your foundation is built within, you will not be moved. Not by insult. Not by failure. Not by loss. You will walk with calm fire in your heart. And that, more than anything else, is what it means to be confident. Let the world do what it does. Let people say what they will. Your task is not to control them. Your task is to control yourself. To endure what must be endured. To act with wisdom. And to never, ever give up. That is where your power lives. That is how we endure. That is how we win.